Hello everyone, and welcome to episode number 29 of No Whining. I hope you're doing amazing, and I'm excited to get into both these wines with you today, so let's go to our first one. This is a 2022 Terredora di Paolo, Greco di Tuffa, Logio della Serra. These freaking Italian names are just off the chain, aren't they? Okay, anyway, this is about a $25 bottle of wine. This is coming from the region of Montefusco, which is a town within the Greco di Tuffa region in Campania, Italy. Whew, always a mouthful, man. The Italians. All right. This wine is actually coming from this. I subbed this out. I called an audible kind of last minute because I had this wine from the same producer that made both wines in our prior episode. And so again, Terredora di Paolo. But unlike the Aglianico that was an IGT in the last episode, this wine is a DOCG like the Fiano was. Here's some information from the tech sheet that you might find interesting. It says the Greco variety was originally cultivated on the slopes of Vesuvius, where it was given the name Lacrima Christi, which means tears of Christ. And so this comes from this old myth about Christ weeping over the fall of Lucifer from heaven, where he was basically cast down to the Gulf of Naples. Now, Christ's tears then made this land especially fertile, producing distinctly flavored grapes and distinct character in the wine. The tech sheet goes on to say, it was later planted in the province of Avellino, where it was given the denomination Greco di Tuffa. Logio della Serra is the name of the vineyard in Montefusco at 1,800 feet above sea level, and it means terrace on the vineyards. Now, these vines are 20 years old, and the harvest for this particular vintage took place mid to late October. Fermentation and aging was in stainless steel, and this wine was aged 6 months sur lie, or on the lees, and then 1 month in bottle. All right, let's hop to it. I'm going to call this wine a clear, medium gold in color with a medium level of viscosity. Let's send it along to the schnoz. Okay, this wine is clean. I'm going to say it has pretty strong medium plus intensity aromas, starting out with, I would say, green apple. Got pear in here, some lemon, a little bit of underripe peach, a little bit of blood orange maybe in there as well. Let's dip back in. Getting on the floral side, this has some really nice floral presence to it, like hawthorn, honeysuckle for sure, maybe even some lily. Getting a little bit of toasted bread from this, and like a biscuity type of aroma, which would be probably from the lees aging. A little bit on the herbal side, I'm getting like a tarragon from this. On the earth side, like inorganic earth, like a wet stone type of aroma. Yeah, and this wine I would say even has some hints of like honey, a little bit of mushroom. So this wine is developing. Let's try it on the jaws. This wine is dry. I would say medium minus in terms of body, pretty light bodied wine, medium in terms of alcohol, and then medium plus in terms of acid. And then you've got these medium intensity flavors of basically all the things that I talked about on the schnoz. I'm not picking up anything different on the jaws really with that. And I would say that this has got a medium plus finish on it. It's actually very nice that way. So again, this is one of those, another example of a DOCG wine that has really an incredible quality to it. Like I would say this is a nice balanced wine. It's got good complexity on it. It's got the intensity. It's got a nice finish as well. So this is a very, very good wine. I would highly recommend this wine. I'm enjoying the crud out of it if you can't tell. And I think that this is drinking really well right now, but could also age a little longer and still be really, really nice. Pull out a little bit different qualities of the wine. I think the honey, the mushrooms, some of that stuff would come out a little bit more. The fruit might go to the background, some of the floral stuff, and it would just be an evolution. And that's the fascinating thing about wine, is it's always evolving in the bottle. It's not something static that you package up like a food item, where basically like they're pretty much the same. As long as you don't eat it when it's expired, you kind of know what to expect with it. The fascinating thing about wine is it really truly is an art form, but it's like living. It's constantly changing and evolving. So anyway, this is a wonderful way to start off the episode. Let's go to wine number 2. This is a 2022 Château de Pizay Morgon. This is around $25, just like the last wine that we tried. The region, this is the Morgon appellation in Beaujolais in France. And Beaujolais is at the very south end of Burgundy, basically. The grape variety on this is going to be, as with all Beaujolais, Gamay. And the tech sheet tells us that these vines are 46 years old. The soils are granite, which is very typical of this area. And then goes on to say this wine was matured in stainless steel tanks, fined with egg whites, natural tartaric stabilizing thanks to cold winter temperatures. 25% of the crop is kept in new oak. Now, what I wanted to kind of focus on, though, on this tech sheet is what it says right before that. It said hand harvested, then carbonic maceration. No crushing, no destemming, and malolactic fermentation. What I really want to do is drill down on carbonic maceration and talk a little bit about that process, because here's what happens. In the winery, whole bunches of intact grapes are placed in vats, and these vats are then filled with CO2. So the anaerobic environment that creates, meaning there's no oxygen, causes the grapes' enzymes, their own enzymes, to break down their sugars, which produces alcohol. And this is called intracellular fermentation. That's, again, different than fermentation that happens outside of the grape. Normally, grapes are crushed first, and then they're kind of put into this must, and the fermentation happens in sort of like this soup. This is intracellular fermentation, again, causing the fermentation to happen inside the grapes themselves, which is really distinct and really interesting. Now, when the alcohol level in those grapes reaches, between 2 and 4% alcohol, the grapes start to split open, releasing their juice, and then normal or typical yeast-driven fermentation commences. Carbonic maceration often produces these distinctly fruity, kind of easy-drinking wines with these fun flavors like banana and pineapple and cinnamon and bubblegum and these type of things. They are inexpensive and they do not age well, so they must be drunk young. Now, Beaujolais Nouveau, you may have heard of that, you may have enjoyed that before, but that's the classic example of this particular vinification technique, right, of carbonic maceration. And Beaujolais Nouveau is a regional level Beaujolais wine. Now, one step up in quality from that is the village level Beaujolais. Now, at the very top level, there are 10 Beaujolais crus. And these are distinct individual commune appellations, of which Morgon is one of those. All right, let's get into our second wine. All right, this wine is a fairly clear, medium ruby color, and I would say this has medium plus in terms of viscosity on the sides of the glass there. All right, let's try it on the schnoz. All right, this wine is clean. It has, I would say, medium, maybe a medium plus intensity aromas. The first one that I'm picking up on is strawberry. All right, let's go back in. A little bit of red cherry, red currant, also some black plum is going on. Yeah, and we're rounding out with some vanilla, maybe a little bit of licorice. So it's not tremendously complex. However, it does have that really nice, distinct, bright fruit aromas. Like, that's very, very pleasing on the schnoz, at least. I'm going to say that this wine is definitely youthful. Let's try it on the jaws. This wine is dry. I would say medium minus in terms of the body, fairly light bodied wine, kind of similar to the last one. Medium plus, however, in terms of alcohol. Then it's also showing medium tannins, but pretty high level of acidity. And then you've got medium intensity flavors of the stuff that I already mentioned on the schnoz. And I'm gonna call the finish on this like a medium minus. It doesn't have an especially long finish. So I like this wine. It's very pleasant, and that's what this is built to be. Now again, the Beaujolais Cru are they have a lot more sort of depth. They're not quite as much of the like bubble gum, like when we were talking about those really fun fruit flavors initially. Again, you have to think about that's the more the regional level Beaujolais. These crus are a higher level of quality, but it still retains that bright, vibrant fruit on the aromas, the flavors. It's really nice on the palate, but it's also pretty easy drinking. So a lot of times people don't really enjoy red wines when they're too heavy, when they're too tannic, when they've got too much body, when they feel again overly opulent, and this is not that. It's got nice structure, it's got nice depth, but nowhere near enough to call too much attention to that. It really keeps the fruit forward focus that these wines are known for, but blends in a little bit of elegance, and that's what I really like about this as one of the Beaujolais Cru. So let's bring these both in and pick ourselves a winner. Okay, which one do you like? Which one did you enjoy the most? I am going to pick the Greco di Tufo. This, in my mind, was just a far superior wine. Now, this Beaujolais is really, really nice, but these up against one another, this just has a lot more sophistication than the Beaujolais, which is fine. And again, I think that there is definitely a quality difference here. That doesn't mean, however, that you might not enjoy the Beaujolais a lot more, right? I'm just going to say that I enjoyed both of these a lot, and so I'm going to go with the tiebreaker to the higher quality, in my opinion, wine, which is the Greco di Tufo. I just really enjoyed that it had, I feel like, a lot more going on with it, and was a bit more kind of sophisticated and had more bite to it, if you will. But again, if you're going for something more easy drinking and that's not what you're looking for, you may absolutely be in love with this Beaujolais, and this is a lovely wine too. So I hope you enjoyed this episode, and just a quick note here, I did include a link to a video on the Beaujolais region down in the description. And it's just a great quick overview if you want to kind of like flyovers and what the region is like, what it looks like. It's so nice to be able to, it's just the picture's worth 1,000 words. Like, check the area out. And then I also put in the description a link to the Campania area videos that I had included in the last video description. So I hope you enjoy both of those as well. And I'll see you back here in episode 30.